Cool. You guys now can hear me. All right. Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Mr. Popo, and we are Popo. I'm trying to make this really fast because I really don't have time. I have a lot of things that I need to do in the weekend, and then after the weekend, I'll have tons of things that I need to do when it comes to work and personal life. So I thought that since I don't have the time to actually go record, edit, delete, record again, delete, I'm just going to be doing the next few tutorials that are coming up, at least for the next 2 months. They're just going to be like this, live streaming, just talk you through it and just go ahead. And I'll probably read the comments and everything later on. So yeah, I appreciate your understanding. Again, my name is Mr. Popo, and let's get right into this tutorial. So as you can see here, for this tutorial, what we're going to be looking at is, hold on a second, can I actually show my camera here? Oh, okay, cool. So what we're going to be looking at is this little piece right here. It's by Coat of Arms. As promised, we're going to go through every single little thing when it comes to this. For this part, what we're going to be taking a look at is what's going on and how can you start understanding scenes like this? How can you not overwhelm yourself? So for example, hold on, let me just hold this up. If we're going to go through the project files, you're going to see all these layers, you're going to freak out. And then where you're going to go to each and every single scene, you're going to be freaking out even more and you will not understand what's going on. And that is my point here, is don't freak out. It's actually simple than you think. So when you go and look at their project file, it's a little bit hard to understand. It's so heavy because it's 4K, so it's understandable. And they use a lot of freelancers. Coat of Arms, again, is the studio that I'm talking about. They use a lot of freelancers. And since, everyone sends their project file, so at the end, what they do is they just, import, put it in, import, put it in, import, put it in, compile, music, render, beautiful. The work is amazing, but it's really hard for other people to actually really understand. And I absolutely adore the fact that they actually share the project file. So a lot of thanks to them. So this is not really a critic, it's more of a feedback that is positive. So when you look at this, so we have this little anchor that is swinging, and it has all these beautiful details going on, and then you suddenly have this transition in a transition in a transition. So this is why I love this project, is this idea of how you can lay transitions on top of each other that is just mind-blowing, and with a beautiful sound effect is just make this even way stronger. So let's get right into it. So to understand this, what you have to do is you have to start to understand and isolate things that are important. For example, when I want to start this project, the first thing that I'm going to start with is the anchor. It's the first thing. Like, if you try to, the first thing you try to do is the anchor and then the waves and all that. No, you're already lost and you're already going to have problems. The first thing that you want to understand is the timing of your animation. How long this is going to take, how it's going to move. Do not ever start with particles, with styling, with colors, with glows and stuff like that, unless you have your timing. In another word, this is where storyboard actually makes a lot of sense. This is why all these beautiful things should be done right after your storyboard. So, if you're a little bit confused, let me make this a little bit easier for you. We make storyboards so that we understand the story, so that we understand where are we going, what are we trying to do, okay? And we put the ideas that we want to see when we tell the story. Once you're done with the storyboard, you do self-framing. Why do you do self-framing? Because you want to know the style of your animation. Maybe it's going to be a little bit harder to present certain stuffs in your storyboards when it comes to real things, when it comes to After Effects. It's like, oh no, I actually don't know how to do this effect that I said I'm gonna do in the storyboard. Or, oh no, actually the sun here doesn't really look as good as I thought it's gonna look in the storyboard. In my head it looked good, but in real it doesn't really look good. So style frame is just so that you understand that this is what I'm gonna do. I can do it. It looks beautiful. Let's go. Okay, so this is what coat of arms will do. So if you follow them on Twitter, I don't want to waste time and go on Chrome browser and just show you Twitter and stuff like that. But if you go on Twitter, coat of arms, you will see that the first thing they do when they're working on animation is they start showing you style frames before they start doing the animation. They do the style frames, and I think it's a Korean dude who does their style frames. Completely forgot his name, but he's freaking talented. My PC is full of his style frames as a reference and learning folder. So basically what they do is they do the style frames. Once they love it, then they start doing the animation. Okay, so all this to say, you have to know what's really important, what to do next. So the first thing that we did the storyboard, we did the style frame. We love the style frame. Okay, this is beautiful, Popo. What do we do next? Again, as I said, we're gonna find the items that are really important in our story. For example, here it's the anchor. All right, this anchor is really, really, really important for us. So to get the timing of the anchor is really important before anything else. Cool. So I created a scene 1. Okay, so here's the anchor. But if we go try the anchor, so this is the first thing that I did. The first thing what I did was creating the anchor, animating it, and making it go like this. Okay, so that is the first thing that I needed to do. I needed to get this super straight. And how do you do all this animation, Popo? How do you, hold on, null 17. How do you do all this flowing things? You're gonna hate my answer. But the answer is unfortunately just like how they did it as well, and just like how many other people do it, even in Oddfellows. You try, and you're gonna fail. You're gonna hate your animation. But if you keep on trying again, okay, this one doesn't, like the swing doesn't look good. Okay, I'm gonna try again. No, it doesn't look like it's going far. Okay, I'm gonna try again the scale. Oh no, this whole animation doesn't look great because now I cannot rotate it in a certain way because my parenting was really bad. So all these things, all these swings, if I should say so, all these swings, all these keyframes, these were literally handmade. Okay, and that's how even Coat of Arms did. So these kind of animations, if you want something that is really meaningful and is really, really, really beautiful, you have to spend time on it. There is no shortcuts. There is no cheating. Unless someone invents something, a plugin or something that does this. But there's no cheating into something that is meaningful and something that is humanly handcrafted. You have to spend the time on it. And doing this kind of animation, and why Oddfellows and Coat of Arms, they really stand in terms of their style and animation, is because everything that they do, you can see that they don't use tricks. They don't use cheap tricks. It's like, oh, I'm gonna use Newton here, or oh, I'm just gonna do a 3D animation instead of doing it in After Effects. No, they know the craft. They know the secret to making things beautiful is to actually spend time on it. You can't just go and cheat everything. There are things that you can cheat, but there are some things that you should not cheat. For example, this is an important piece. The anchor is the most important thing. Is the more important thing in the whole piece. It's the anchor. So if you try to cheat the anchor, users and viewers are just gonna use their attention. Okay, so this brings me to my second point that I wanted to discuss in this tutorial. It's so how is this animated? Good question, even though you didn't ask it, but we'll just pretend you did. This was done using a 2 rig. You have the anchor. It's parented to a null. I'm just going to show you where is the null. Okay, cool. So it's parented to a null, and this null is parented to another null. Why so much? Why so many parenting? Well, it's because this movement is not an easy movement. Okay, so I need something to swing my anchor this way. Okay, so obviously, if it's like a pendulum, what I need to do is I need something to hold it from here. So here's the anchor. I need something to rotate it. Okay, you get it? Cool. But in the same way, I need something that will move it up and down. As you can see here, it needs to move up and down. But in the same time, I need the anchor to do those kind of secondary animations on itself. So the anchor does the secondary animations. It is parented to a null that moves it up and down. And it is parented to a null that will rotate it. So one null for rotation, one null for position, and one, which is the anchor, for scale. So this is for scale, okay? As you can see, for the secondary animations. And scaling to make it look like you're going far and you're coming straight to us. So straight, far, back again, back again. Okay? So this is where you need to understand parenting. Parenting is really important in this case. Cool. So when that was done, what I did was like, okay, we got this. I am so sure of this animation. This is what I want. The second thing that you want to do is, goddamn, where did I put it? There we go. It's the rope. This is the second thing. So the rope, how did I do it? You're gonna hate it again. It is manual keyframes. That's how you do it. That's why doing the anchor was the first most important thing about this project. So once you do the anchor, everything else, everything just falls into places. So here, what I did was I created a path. The first thing I did was I created this, as you can see here, this. If I just try to show you exactly what's going on. So I created like this. Well, most importantly, I actually created like this. Okay, and then what I did was I went into window and create nulls from path. And then points follow nulls. So here After Effects what it's gonna do is it's gonna give me nulls. So by moving these nulls, as you can see here, there we go. I can move this rope. So that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I created the rope and then, you know, I started moving it here and there. Thank you, Snapback. There we go. Snapback, you're now in this tutorial. Yep. So I just try to follow it by hand. There we go. Cool. This is done. I was like, all right, cool. We did the anchor, we did the rope. What's the most important thing after this? Well, we need to have the background. I need to know that first I am in the light, and then I'm going into dark, and then I'm going up. That's what I did next. Wait, what? Okay, cool. Scene 1. And what I did was I got this into, so what I did was I created this, okay? I was like, okay, the anchor, it's moving. Now let's create a background for the anchor. Okay, so what is this background? It looks so complicated. It's not. No! Okay, so this background is not complicated. So you have a background, one color, okay? So you can see here, just one color. And then what I did was like, okay, cool. Now I need to show that it's kind of like there are some bubbles going on and stuff like that. So I created particles. So as you can see here, particles, they're going up. Okay, so particles, they're going up. And then they go down. Why? This is where the scene goes up for the transition. Okay. So how was this created? It's with particular. Particular is following a camera. So all I needed to do is put particular in here, down here, as you can see here. So particular is launching this kind of particles up. It's just pushing them up. Particular, what it's doing is it's just putting things up. It's just putting things up. That's it. I'm just gonna show you here. Just give me 1 second. If I go to air, there we go. As you can see here, it's all the time pushing things up. But what's giving you the illusion that you're actually going into the ocean, up and then down, it's the camera. Because particular, if you have used Trapcode particular, you know that your particles are always affected by the camera. So if I animated the camera, of course, always animate your camera using a null. Do never, never, ever, ever animate your camera position or rotation using the camera. It's no good. It's not good for a human being. It's good for a computer, but it's not good for a human being because you don't know where your camera went. You don't see the particle motion, the camera motion. So I made the camera move down and then it moves up. All right, cool. So that's how I'm just gonna show you here. So as you can see here, moves down and then moves up. And the particles, they follow. Okay, again, what I did was I duplicated the layer, the particle layer, the same particle, the same layer. I duplicated it, okay? And then I made it slightly bigger, as you can see here. So we're just gonna focus on this. So I made them slightly bigger. Again, these particles will also follow the camera, which is pretty good. Now, why did you create them like this, Popo? Well, it's for a very simple reason. I needed to show you that you are actually in a depth, in an ocean. Okay, so what you have is you have the bright side, which is right in front of you, and then you have the dark side, all right? So what I did was I used a curve. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you the difference. And I'm just gonna increase this just so that you guys can see. Yes, you guys can see. So it just shows you that this curve is making things darker. So whatever the particles are, which is here, you see, it's gonna make things darker. There we go. Okay, so it's more of a tricks that you learn while I was discovering this this project. Perfect. What's next? What do we have? What do we have next? We have some light particles. Just some light because you're inside the ocean. So when you're inside the ocean, there are some lights, you know, and then these lights, they are turbulent, you know. So that's where these lights come in. We've already studied this so many times in so many of my tutorials, how to do these kind of things. So basically what you do is you just create spheres, you blur them, you give them a wiggle, and that's it. You just come here and you just put them right on top. All right, so it gives you this kind of environment. So all in all, what I did was background and depth tricks, which is dark, bright, light movements. This is the tricks for the background. And then what we did was create particles. Why did we create particles again? Just to show you where the camera is moving. Because without the camera, you would not understand, are we going up or are we going down? Cool. So now what do we have? We have an anchor and we have our particles. And that's pretty cool, right? Great. Now, what did I do next? So next what I went, I just started doing more and more details on this. I was like, okay, so I have this. What is the first thing that I can start creating when it comes to this? Is obviously these, I'm just gonna show you, bum, bum, bum. Cool. So it's these particles. This is the second thing that I've done after the rope. So we have these particles going on. Again, these particles so that you can, yes, this stream is going to be used as a tutorial because I don't have time to edit. So basically, when it comes to these particles, we have discussed this so many times in my recent tutorials It's the tertiary system. So what I did here is we have three levels of particles. We have the small ones, we have the medium ones, and then we have the big ones. Okay, always use this trick. Whenever you're going to do something that will have a lot of details and you want to add details into it, do the tertiary system, and it's just gonna save you a lot of time, and it just works, you know. And that's what I did here, was just this particle. All these particles are actually following this light here. So the light is parented to the anchor, and the particles are being emitted from it. How do I do this? Emitter, light type, there we go. Okay, and yeah, there we go. You've got the settings. The project file, I'm gonna attach it on the description at the end of this live stream, so you can go and download it. Or you can just go to their website and download their project file, Coat of Arms. I'll put the link to their website as well, and social media, since I don't have social media. So we have, these particles are really small. Okay, this is quite small, slightly blurred. And then we have the medium ones. So as you can see here. And then we have the big ones, these ones. And these are pretty blurred, pretty feathered, I would say. Okay? And the whole thing about this, so that you guys can understand what's going on, what makes this really beautiful when it comes to the particles, what actually makes them really beautiful, it's only one thing. And it's one simple option that I love. And I haven't used this option in so many years, I'm gonna be honest. It's called velocity from motion. It's this thing right here. So I'm gonna explain to you what is velocity from motion. So basically what velocity from motion is, speed that you get from another motion, from another speed. Sounds complicated, right? But it's not. I'll show you. So the first thing that I'm going to create is, I'm going to create a null object. I'm going to create a solid. I'm going to call this particles. Then I'm going to bring in particular. I'm going to bring in the position here. I'm going to go here, pop. I'll just go to position, and I'll just get the position of this null. Cool. So now, I'm just going to go a little bit further and just test this. So now whatever I move, my null, my particles are going to move. Cool. Great. So what I'm going to do here, obviously, I'm just going to go make a keyframe somewhere here. And then I'm going to go after 1 second, just so that we can make this pretty interesting. I'm going to move here. So what's going on? You see where the particle moves? So it's like when you're in a bus. You're in a bus, and then suddenly, what happens to the bus? It stops. But you go like this. And then you come back. See that animation thing that's going on? So you're standing in the bus, and then when it suddenly stops, you still have that speed from its previous motion, and then you stop. Cool? And same thing when it comes. Imagine that this is a car racing, and the car is gonna, go around. So what's gonna happen? It's like the dust that the car does. But if you want to really understand this in a very simple way, think about this like the hair. I don't have hair, obviously, thanks to my grandparents. But if you have hair, I'm jealous. If you do have hair, or you're a girl or a guy with a lot of hair, beautiful hair, freaking hate you. I just want your hair now. If you do like this, what happens to your hair? Your hair actually moves from the speed of your head. Okay, so that's what velocity from motion is. And if we go here, velocity from motion here is 20. If we increase it, it's gonna move even further, as you can see here. So I'm just gonna do something like this, so we can keep on seeing this in real time. So this will go only slowly. If I do more, it's gonna even accelerate that even further. So this is what made the particle movement from the anchor really, really, really prominent and interesting. Cool. Tutorial finished. Okay, so we got the particles. That's great. Now, what can we do next? The next thing that I started doing here was I wanted to add a little bit of background so that I can understand what's going on. So we did a little bit of light. Just these are just secondary thing. They just added. I was like, okay, I can see what's going on. And the next thing that I tried doing was I'm like, okay, I need to add more detail. So I was looking at their video and I'm looking, okay, so what's the next thing that I can do that is fairly easy? Because the hardest part was done. Okay, always start with the hardest part. The hardest part was animating the anchor, animating the rope. That done, I'm done. So I started doing light trails here. So what is this? Let's focus on this. So what I did was I attached a shape layer there. The shape layer, as you can see, if After Effects wants, okay, so basically what it is, it's just a sphere. Oh, actually it's a square. Okay, well, never mind. All right. So it's a square, and the square is following the tip of the anchor. Okay, so it's like that. It's just following it. It's basically just parented, as you can see here. It is just parented. But what makes it really interesting is that if you use the echo, and remember, if you want to learn more about the echo and the use of echo when it comes to shadow trails, please watch my previous tutorial that I've done about the magical stylized sphere. So what I did was I did an echo. The echo gave me this, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start coloring it. Great. Now I can just blur it, because if I blur it, it's gonna look more realistic. And I just went and I did the same thing, but this time on top. Why these colors? So that you can understand this, it's more of a trying to do complementary colors. So if I'm gonna have blue, there must be something that is orange or something that is counterpart. Okay, because everything in this scene is very blue, slightly green. So we need something that is complementary in the scene. We need it. We must have it. If not, it's gonna look a little bit stale. So that's where this comes in, and it makes it look 100 zillion times much more interesting, as you can see here. So without this, it's not gonna look interesting. I'm gonna show you. So if we do something like blue, it's not as interesting suddenly. But because we do complementary colors, it becomes interesting. And we get your attention. That's the thing. We get your attention. We get you. Okay? So it becomes more interesting. And that's what we do in animation. We try to get people's attention. If you can get people's attention, you won. Because that's the most important thing recently in recent years. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes and I really need to start going. Okay, so we did the trails and that was cool. We did the particles. That's cool. Now, what's next? What's next is I needed something that can show me the trail of the anchor. So how do we do that? How do we do this, but for the anchor, to make it more detailed? So what are we doing now? We're creating details. We're creating beautiful stuff. So how do we do this as an echo? How do we do the trail? So obviously you want to use echo, but there's going to be a problem. If you try to do an echo on this, I'm just going to show you. So if I try to do just the same thing, actually, I can just copy it. Bam, 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 tartalan, paste it. Hello? Oh, it's not so bright, suddenly. Oh, this is not gonna work. Let me just delete this. Okay, so to get this kind of trail, what you need to do, you don't need only, you don't need this. You need the whole silhouette. Because if you don't use the whole silhouette, you're gonna have holes here. That's not great. You need to have the whole thing full. So that was the trick about creating a beautiful kind of a trail for the anchor. Because if you don't do this, you're gonna have a weird, hold on, let me try this. You see here? That's what I'm talking about. Do you guys see that? Do you guys see what I'm talking about? You see this? This is disgusting. This is ugly. You don't do that. Please don't do that. It doesn't look good. Okay? It doesn't look good. So what you can do instead, you just go make the whole thing. Okay? And then it's gonna be full. And that's beautiful. Okay? That's a beautiful trail. So how was this trail created? Again, all we did here, just gonna solo this for a second. Cool. So what I did was I created that echo here, as you can see. I blurred it a little bit because if I don't blur it, it doesn't really look that good. So we just blur it. And yeah, I just use a color, for example here, to use it as an alpha matte. And that way we get a trail. But here's the thing again. This is why this project is so complicated, and there's so much details that I want to share with you that making a tutorial will take forever, and that's why I couldn't do it the past few weeks. So you did the trail, that's beautiful, but that's not enough, okay? Because I'm just gonna show you a thing. I'm just gonna delete the opacity just to show you something. Even when it's not moving, I'm having the trail. You see that? Even when I'm not moving, I'm having the trail. Normally we have the trails only because we want to show the motion of an object. I don't want to have trail at this position. I want to have it here. But when I'm done, I don't want to keep having trails. Trails only show that I'm moving from one part to another, not when you're still, kind of. So I just want it when I move from here to here. But here the problem is, I have it all the time. So how do we fix this? That's where the opacity comes in. Okay? That's where the opacity comes in. So I just keyframed whenever this trail is moving. And then I start doing opacity again. So it's just playing with opacity up, opacity down when it's not moving, opacity up when it's moving, opacity down when it's not moving, opacity up when it's moving, and then you kill it. Okay, so this is how I did this trail thing. So this is the kind of details that when you just start doing motion design, you don't really realize, but you know, the more you create, the more you get to understand these tricks, so they become something that is simple. Okay, so what we did so far? We created the trail, and we created the anchor, and we created the rope. That's good. What's next? What's next is this beautiful thing. I didn't know about it. I'm gonna be honest. When I saw it first, I thought that they used echo to create this beautiful thing here. This. I thought it was trail, but it was not. It was not trail, okay? So what they did was very interesting, and I want to share it with you guys. So I'm just gonna go and just get the color of this. What's the color? Cool. So let's try to do this. So basically what they did, so they created a shape like this, the shape of the thing that they wanted. Okay. So just roughly, all right? It doesn't have to be so strictly exactly like that. So just roughly. So I'm just gonna say something like this, okay? Obviously, I don't want stroke. So what I want is, you know, I want something like that. I'm just gonna go and bring it here just so that it's easier for me. So now, whenever this goes, it's gonna follow it. Okay? Cool. But obviously, I just want it until it goes here. Like, what? All right, that's it. That's where I literally just want it. Just like something like that. I'm just gonna kill it. Now, the beautiful thing that they did here was they didn't use echo. And that's why it was very special. So what they did, they used the gradient. Okay? So they did this. They created the color that they wanted. And for the other parts, they went here, the up side. All right? So when you select your gradient, you go up. Up is your opacity. So they just went there and they kill it. So what do we have now? We only have this. Okay, I'm just gonna go and do something like that, maybe. Yeah. Slightly down. Cool. So they created something like this. And then what they started doing is they played with this while it's moving. So just to make this even easier, so what they did is they keyframed, for example, the start point and the end point, and they just went and played with this even more. You know? Something like that. And in the same time, to make this even more realistic, they went and they played with the rotation of this. So let's just say that now it's like this, but at the end, it's just gonna, hold on. Actually, it's not the rotation. What the hell am I doing? It's the path. So if I go to the path and I put a keyframe here, and then in the beginning, I can do a very weird, I can choose how weird my my path is, for example, like this. So what happened is this gets to be animated. This is how you get this kind of thing, and then at the end what you go is you just literally just go and do a Gaussian blur. Basically, and then it just gets better and better. So the more time you spend, so this is how they did this very unique trail, as you can see in this one here. Okay, so again, the gradient, opacity 0, and then you just place it on the anchor, and then just play with the, again, the gradient. This is where you play with the gradient here. So if we can look at the gradient, look at how it is now. You see, you move that gradient. That's how it looks more beautiful. Because if you created an echo, it's not gonna be like this. It's not gonna be as stylized as this. Okay? So creating this very unique shape that will be the kind of the trail, and then playing with the gradient inside, to me, that was one of the most beautiful things that I've learned in this project. It's like, wow, I've never thought of this. So another way of creating this is basically creating a shape layer. Let's just say like this. Another way of creating it is, so this is how I created, I would have created it if I didn't know about this. I would create a shape layer, but then what I'd be doing, I'll be creating a mask instead. You see, it's exactly the same thing, but their technique was smarter. You don't have a mask and you have everything in your shape layer. So that's beautiful. To me, that was very beautiful, I would have to say. It's just fucking brilliant. Okay, cool. So that is when it comes to this trail again. And again, you know, When it's not moving, we don't have a trail. When it's moving, we have a trail. So to understand this trail thing, when you want to see the trail in full motion, so I'm just going to go and use this here again, just so that you guys can really understand this. I know this is going to be long, but the point of my tutorials is to actually share with you guys knowledge. So I don't know how long this is going to take, but if I can share with you guys the knowledge, then screw it. So just to understand what's going on here, I'm just going to go and make this a little bit, just going to make this like that, okay? We're going to go and make this smaller. I'll probably have to do the timestamps for this live stream. So if I do position here, just so that you guys can understand this and know how to use it, and then you end here. Okay, so we have this motion, okay, and then what's gonna happen is we'll just use a little bit of a loop out, I guess, but ping pong, so that it comes and it goes. It doesn't just go and then repeat. No, it actually repeats the whole thing back. Okay, so no, I want a speed graph. Okay, so we want this to keep on going. We'll just go like this. Okay, cool. So to understand this thing that I've just explained to you just now about the shape layer, I'm just gonna try and show you. So we're gonna make the trail, okay? So let's just say something like this. Doesn't matter. Cool. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna parent it to the ball. I'm gonna call this ball. I'm gonna call this stylized trail. I'm gonna put it behind. So we have the ball. We have the ball and the trail is following it. Okay, cool. There's nothing so really amazing about this. It's just how it is. I'm just gonna make this here, and I'm just gonna try to rotate this a bit. Cool. So pop, pop, pop. All right, so this is gonna go like this. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and try to find a gradient. I'm gonna put this one here, I'm gonna put this one here, I'm gonna put this one somewhere here. Cool. When it's full motion, when it's full motion, this is where the gradient is gonna be. Okay, so start and end, it's gonna be there. When it's ending, I shouldn't be seeing this anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna move this a little bit farther. All right, so as you can see here, it gains motion, I see it. It stops, I don't. Well, actually here. Cool. You get it? Do you guys get it? This is really important. Do you guys get it? So once this is done, I'm gonna go cut it. Flip. Do you guys get it? This is how you use this trail trick. Okay? This is how you use it. But on its own is not enough. You'll have to put it in the right setup. Okay, so everything has to be complementary. Okay, That's when it comes to the, what do we call that? The this thing here, which is the trail. Okay, so that's how it was animated. Then what I did was I went and I created those small lines, as you can see here. Here. Here, they used a very interesting technique, which is kind of like what I did. I'm just gonna show you again. So what they did here, I'm just gonna move these guys out. So we have this going like that. So to create the trail, what they did was very interesting. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go and copy this, and I'm gonna do it the same thing. So I don't want this. I just want the stroke. It's very interesting, I'm gonna say that, but it's because it's done in a previous versions of After Effects, so it's understandable. But what I want here, I want exactly the same thing as I did just now. So I'm just gonna go do this, okay? And I'm just gonna make the trail that this sphere is gonna kind of do, if I should say so. Cool. So I don't see anything. Oh, there we go, because this is actually here. Okay. So they actually did the same thing when it comes to here. What they did was they went and they animated the start and end. So at the beginning, it was here. And then here, it got here. And then here, it went all the way to the other side. So at the end, what you get is that you get that kind of motion. But I wouldn't actually. But I wouldn't actually create it this way, to be honest. This is where I differ from what they did. I mean, I understand it. It's kind of a new trick, but this is not how I would do it. If I had to do it, I'll literally just create a very straight pop. But again, that's because it was done in a previous versions of After Effects, so I understand that. Normally, how you do this now, you have this trimming when it comes to your stroke. So you have this taper thing, and if you go here 50 and 50, so you get this thing here, and yeah, you can actually go and play with this when it comes to what do we call that? That trim pad thing. So yeah, that's what I would do. I'm just gonna go and play with the trim pad like that and just animate it instead of doing it that way. But I understand what they did was very, very creative. But yeah, to me it was just a drag. So I'd rather do this in trim pad or 3D stroke instead of doing it that way. Cool. So that's that way it comes to that. So I pretty much covered most of the things here. Again, these are just lines. Again, a lot of details again. That's the beauty of this trick. So as you can see here, everything makes sense now. Again, yeah, that's when it comes to this little guy. Cool. One thing I did at the end, this was at the very, 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 very end, is the anchor light here, as you can see here. So it's just gonna be two circles that are just gonna harmoniously flow in to the scene. Okay, so you just the sphere, as you can see, the sphere is literally the same thing. Again, it's just position, and it's just gradient, and it's just opacity to fade in. That's it. Simple. Great. Now, most important part, the transition. How did we do the transition? The transition was very, very simple. I've explained it 100 million times before in previous tutorials. and I'm pretty sure there are 100 million tutorial outside about this. But basically what we did was create a new solid. We're gonna call this wave transition. Okay, so when you create this wave transition, I'm gonna go and change the color of this just so that you can understand what's going on. So we have our animation, cool. And then we have our transition. So how are we gonna do this transition? I'm gonna go and do a wave. It's not a wave, is that wave warp? Yeah, it is wave warp. So we obviously have studied this before. So if you have the height, if you just increase it, let's just say around a 700 probably, probably even more actually for this case. Gonna go for something like that. Great. So we have this going on like that. I'm gonna go to 0.5. So how does it look? It's a little bit too. Okay, cool. And what I'm gonna do, let's just say the top left, stuff like that. Okay, cool. All right, and then what I did was, what you do is you just do, let's just make this a little bit bigger. Cool. So I'm gonna do a position here. Cool. And at the end of the transition, it just goes down. Okay. And at the same time, what I'm gonna do a rotation like that. So then you have that, but then you have this kind of cut thing that happens here, and this is where this trick happens, and it's called grow bounds. I have tweeted about this, and I've said that it is one of the most important things that you do if you're gonna work with After Effects a lot. So basically what this effect does, it allows you to actually grow even more bounds. So here is the bound of my solid layer. So when the effect is happening, it only has this much. So it doesn't have more room to play with. So to fix it, what you do is you just add more pixels to your layer without going here. You just add more pixels into your layer. So you just grow the bounds, and then you actually solve that problem going on. And then what you do is you just do an alpha mate. So I see it, now I don't. Okay, and if you use this kind of technique, if you just use the same thing, so we have this going on here, right? And if I just let's just say duplicated it, okay, and then I put it just a tiny bit on top, just a tiny bit, or not even tiny bit, if I just push this like that, and then I say alpha inverted. So what that means is I have this kind of stroke here. So if I just place this a little bit better, what happened? You get that very nice thing going on here. So just so that you really understand what's going on, what I'm creating here for this transition. So we're just gonna make something like that. I'm just gonna say that this is doing nothing. I'm gonna take this scene, I'm gonna call this scene 1. And then I'm just gonna use it as an alpha mate to show myself. So then you have that. So obviously now you can just go here, fill, and then choose the color that you want here. Obviously it has to be brighter. So then you create that wave thing. So this is the kind of tricks that I've used when it comes to this, to solving this transition issue here. So again, okay, so you have this, all right, grow bound, wave warp, Gaussian blur. The reason I did the Gaussian blur here is just so that you guys can understand. If you don't do the Gaussian blur, you have this thing. Okay, so to fix this, To fix this, what I did was you do Gaussian blur a bit, okay? So it gives you this, and then what you do next is you go to levels, and you just try to level this up, and then that Gaussian blur is gonna slightly start removing, but actually it's not the RGB, it has to go into the alpha. So you just try to get this closer to each other. You go to the alpha, not to the, so I'm just gonna reset this. Go to alpha and try to get this closer to each other in the center. And then, oh, that thing is gonna be solved. So as you can see here, there's a huge difference between this and this. So yeah, this is how you do it. You Gaussian blur it, and then you cut the levels to the point where they disappear. There we go. Then you have it smooth. So without the levels, you get that. Without the Gaussian blur, you get this. So Gaussian blur, levels, you fix it. Okay. So what you do, it's like you get a little bit of values that are not straight. Again, you get them out, which you get from the Gaussian blur. The Gaussian blur smooth things out. So when you get the values after smooth, you get them here. Hopefully you guys understand. So yeah, this is what I did here. So I have my background again. If I don't use any alpha, I have my background always appearing. But then if I do an alpha on this layer here, which is having a wave warp, it fixes it. Now you do the same thing for scene 1. So what do you have? Okay. There we go. Again, I'm doing that technique here, as you can see here. So there is a little bit of as you can see here. Do you see the time here? I'm just gonna go and zoom in a lot so you can see. There is this 1 frame difference, and that's what I did here. There's that little 1 frame different. That's where these two are happening. So basically what I'm doing is I'm reusing the first wave warp that I've created. I've created 1 wave warp, and then I'm just reusing it. I'm just, look here, I'm just pushing it 1 by 1. All right, cool. So that is done. What I did next was, yeah, I created a bunch of waves between scene 1 and scene 2. Okay, so I created a bunch of waves here. So as you can see here, so everything, it's exactly the same thing. Okay, so if you go to the project file and see, it's exactly the same thing. So the only thing that I'm doing is I'm just changing the color. That's it. With this fill, I'm just changing the color. So between scene 1 and scene 2, I'm doing a lot of transition. Here, I'm gonna put scene 2. Scene 2 is also using a mask, the wave warp thing. Okay, so scene 2, what I did, it's exactly the same thing as I showed you guys. I created the background, which is this one. And I did the anchor. The anchor is flying up. Perfect. And I duplicated it. And I did a Gaussian blur. Just so that I can have this holo thing. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but if I add, so you can see here. So that's why I did that. Just to get a holo kind of effect on it. Great. Then the next thing that I did was I animated the rope again. The rope I animated exactly the same way I did for scene number 1. So I animated the anchor, and then what I did was I created the rope to follow the anchor. And it was pretty easy. It's just 2 keyframes. And that is done. I went and I created the anchor, I call it the anchor magic, which is the same technique that I showed you guys when it comes to this. So you just animate the start and end. Cool, then you do the water bubbles again. And I just did this light. Basically the light, what it is it's just a sphere, Gaussian blur, roughen the edges so that I can get this stylized thing, and then add more noise into it, just so that it can follow stylized. let's get back. And between scene 2 and scene 3, I did kind of the same thing. So I went and created a bunch of wave masks again. Cool. And then at the end, I did scene 3. So to understand what's going on really, really well in this transition, I'm going to remove all the waves that are not important. Okay. So this is what we have without the waves. You get scene 1. Scene 1 starts to disappear with the transition. Okay. When it's disappearing, scene 2 is appearing. Okay, so you just stack them. You just stack them. You know when you edit a clips and you just put one here? That's exactly what happened. So you do scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. This is how you do it. When you are done with scene 1, scene 2, and scene 3, when you're done, what you do is you start adding waves between them. So this is how the scene looked like when I just started. Scene 1 done, transition to scene 2, transition to scene 3. Using exactly the same solid layer, which is this one. Okay? And then you fill up the whole thing with wave masks. Just to add more details. It's just to screw with your mind. It's just to play. It's like this vision trick. Okay? When that is done, I went to scene 3. Scene 3 was a little bit big. And it is to show that this anchor is actually, the anchor is going to start rotating to its normal place, and then it will become the sun. The anchor, the way it is animated, obviously, it's just this one. It's basically just scale. So you put this one here, you just scale it like this, and it will look like it's actually 3D. So see? If you just play with the scale like this, it looks like it's actually 3D, but it's not 3D. It's just 2D, but you just play with the scale. All right. And then I went and I animated the sun. The sun is actually animated in a very simple way. Okay, so it's just a shape layer, shape layer, shape layer, shape layer. All right, so when it comes to that, if we look at it, okay, so it's basically just a stroke, and then you have this mask feather that you play with. Okay, so you get this. Cool. That's it when it comes to this tutorial. I hope you guys loved it. I know it's a little bit too long. How is it? It's 1 hour. Hope you guys learned as much as possible. Again, I'm super full with things that I have to do in life, and I actually 12:41. I'm 41 minutes late to my next thing that I need to do today. But I just hope it was worth it. To me, it was worth it sharing with you guys this information. Yeah, when it comes to, always remember, I like to do the posterized time. It makes things more stylized. I added a little bit of noise as well. Yeah. Cool. I hope you guys learned a lot. I'll try to put the link to Coat of Arms in the description. I'll put the project file in the description. Please, if you want to support me into doing this, you can support me with Patreon. I just want to drop this here for you guys that don't know me. I was offered actually last 2 weeks, I was offered a job at Tesla with a really high competitive price, but I refused it. It's in China, and I refused it. And the reason I did this was no other reason, but I'm just going to throw this out there. It was because if I go to China, even with that high pay, and with Tesla, which is my dream company, well, it used to be, I'm not going to be able to use YouTube. I'm not going to be able to share with you guys tutorials. So I rejected. Is that the only reason? Yes. One, because I like my freedom. Two, it's because of YouTube. So I just want to share with you guys this. So yeah, if you just want to support, you can go to my Patreon. It's just literally $1. It's not even a coffee. But yeah, my name is Mr. Popo, and yeah, I'm here to do tutorials and share information as much as possible, and I'll keep doing that. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks if you're gonna watch this in the video, and thanks to all my Patreon supporters. Woo! Okay, well, I'm gonna start breaking the house. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, it's okay. The lamp is okay, and yeah. Bye-bye. I'll see you on the next one, guys. The next one, it's really, really interesting, by the way. I'm working on this tutorial, and it's in Cinema 4D, and it's very, very, very exciting. I just can't wait to show you guys the next tutorial. You guys are gonna be like, I mean it. All right, that's it. Enough. Okay, guys, I'm